Welcome back, dear students. So far in this course you have learned some basic skills of English literature. I have guided you about how to read effectively in order to better understand different pieces of literature that you are studying. Now, from today onwards, I'm going to guide you about those terms which we frequently use in our literary discussion and analysis. See, the students, once they are asked to analyze a piece of literature, whether it be a novel, short story, drama, a piece of prose, a poem, they have a lot of difficulties doing that successfully. And one thing that poses them a great challenge is their lack of familiarity with those terms which are part of literature and help us explain our ideas better. So, through these discussions, you will be able to understand literature as an expert, as a person who is trained in literature. So, your reading, analysis and discussion are going to be very mature after knowing these terms, identifying them in the different pieces of literature that you will be studying, and then using them in your analysis. So, let us look at first of all the definition of literary terms. Literary terms refer to the technique, style and formatting used by writers and speakers to masterfully emphasize, embellish means to decorate something, or strengthen their compositions. So, composition means a piece of writing. So, these are basically different techniques, tools which are employed by the writer. So, we identify those techniques and then develop our own argument about what the writer is trying to convey through his writing. Literary terms also include powerful figurative language that writers use to summon emotion ranging from guilt to anger to bliss, and to allow us to see the world in new and magical ways. So, this use of literary terms has its own artistic functions. The writer has a certain purpose behind using these terms, these techniques. These literary terms have a wide range of application, from the poet's beauty to the speaker's persuasion to the novelist's story development. So, when a writer is using these literary terms, he is actually trying to achieve a few things. So, these literary terms are important in a wide variety of ways. They allow writers and speakers to make comments on society, politics and trends. So, once you are familiar with these techniques and how they are employed, what their functions are, you find yourself quite comfortable commenting on novels, short stories, poems that you will be studying as a student of literature. Similarly, rhetorical devices. First of all, you need to understand what rhetoric means. Rhetoric is the art of persuasive public speaking. See, you might have listened to different people. So, the people who have better mature communication skills and they know how to attract the attention of their audience, people pay more attention to their speech in comparison with a person who does not employ these techniques. So, the techniques, verbal techniques which are used in art of public speaking are called rhetorical devices. So, these devices can be used to strengthen arguments which persuade and convince audiences. So, by using different techniques, the speaker tries to persuade the audience to do something that they might not do without this kind of persuasion. Poetic figurative language can summon emotions and visions of nature and the world in unique and compelling ways. So, this actually indicates and reflects the innovative observation, or let me put it a bit differently, keen observation of a person. So, a speaker who has a different style of speaking can appeal to the listeners better than somebody else. So, this is actually the art of conversation or art of public speaking, how you talk to people, how you engage their attention and how you prepare them to do certain things, and all through your speech. So, first of all, let's look at a literary term, that is alliteration. Alliteration. It is also called head rhyme or initial rhyme. Now, alliteration is the repetition of the same sounds of initial consonants in any sequence of neighboring words. Simply speaking, when consonants are repeated one after another, consonant sounds, and these consonants are actually at the start of those words, we call this technique alliteration. For instance, look at this example: landscape lover, lord of language. Landscape lover, lord of language. So, this consonant sound, l sound, is recurring at the start of these four words: landscape lover, lord of language. So, Tennyson, an English poet, has used this alliteration device in his line. Now, next let us look at the function of alliteration, why it is used, and especially it is used in poetic prose or poetry, because some of these devices which I am going to discuss, these literary terms, are frequently found in poetry. Some are most commonly used in drama, some are general to all genres of literature, all types of literature, all forms of literature. So, alliteration is most commonly used in poetry because it creates a certain sound effect in those lines in which this device is used. So, what is the literary function of alliteration? It is used for special stylistic effects. For instance, to reinforce the meaning. it encourages, it somehow compels the reader to pay more attention to the meaning, this repetition of initial consonants, to link related words, or to provide tone, color, and enhance the palpability of enunciating the words. So, how the words are spoken, when we use this device, it brings the other person to pay more attention to your line, your sentence, your dialogue. Second in this list of literary terms is allusion. Now, allusion means an indirect or passing reference to some event, person, place, or artistic work, the nature and relevance of which is not explained by the writer, but relies on the reader's familiarity with what is thus mentioned. So, simply speaking, allusion is an indirect reference to something important. So, when the writer is writing, he brings in a kind of passing reference, brief reference that makes the reader think of something, some event, some person, some place, or artistic work. So, this is how the writer creates meaning. He invites you to relate the current reading to something that is outside it. So, you relate both of these things, and then you understand the idea that the writer wants to get across to you. And the second thing that is important here is that the nature and relevance of which is not explained by the writer. He simply refers to an event, person, place, or artistic work. Now, it is up to the reader to develop familiarity with that reference and then relate it to the current reading. How this reference is useful in this piece of writing that the reader is dealing with. So, this is called allusion. So, we are going to continue with this discussion of literary terms in next few lectures. So, try to watch these lectures carefully and make your best efforts to understand these ideas so as to employ them in your literary discussions. And in my after completing these discussions on literary terms, I will also show you how we use these literary terms to develop our own analysis. So, see you in the next lecture. Thank you.